Hello and welcome to my video report from Collectormania 16. I'm here in my hotel room having spent the day at the Milton Keynes Dons football stadium. You may remember from last year that we had to be on the concourse around the stadium because the whole weather events meant to be held hadn't been built yet. Unfortunately this year it still isn't finished, so we were relegated to the concourse again. The downside of that is that it's been cold and pouring with rain most of the day, so the conditions haven't been great. The plus side is that we've had some football to watch. I presume there are scouting matches, but there are various games being held from about 10 in the morning to about 3 o'clock. And just to prove it, here's a sample of one of them. Now, this Collectormania isn't the best for me guest-wise. There's a lot of Star Trek guests and minor Star Wars guests who don't interest me. But I've met 5 people today. First up was Linda Hamilton, best known as Sarah Connor in the first 2 Terminator films. I'd heard reports from an event she did last year that she was lovely and she didn't disappoint. She called me baby, she grabbed my hands both at the start and the end of our conversation. Unfortunately, she was no posed photos, and I was tempted by a photo shoot, but I didn't go for it. But I managed to grab some photos from the queue. And here's a photo I got signed. Next was Arnold Judas Rimmer himself, Mr. Chris Barrie. For those of you who don't watch Red Dwarf, he was also Mr. Britas in the British Empire and provided many of the voices on Spitting Image, and he now presents shows about big machines on 5. He cancelled the last time he was meant to be here at Milton Keynes, so I was thrilled to add him to my collection. He was exactly as I expected him to be, very nice but not particularly chatty. Whilst I was waiting, his assistant mentioned to him that he was busy and his queue wasn't moving very fast and that he might like to stop posing for photos, but he straight away said no, that he wasn't happy with doing that, so I got a nice photo with him. And here's what I got signed. Tommy Knight was next. He plays Luke, Sarah Jane's son, in the Sarah Jane Adventures, and he appeared as Luke in a couple of Doctor Who episodes. Unfortunately, by the time I got to see him, he'd run out of all but one of his photo choices, so the one I've got of him isn't exactly the best shot. He was really nice, very enthusiastic and energetic. Oh, to be young again. He asked me what colour pen I'd like him to use, and I joked that he shouldn't get me to choose, otherwise we'd be here all day, and he said, well, there's no point in him choosing because we'd have the same problem. But eventually I made a choice. I then complimented him on Sarah Jane and told him that we get as excited about a new series of that as we do about a new series of Doctor Who, which he was thrilled about. He confirmed that we're filming the 4th series at the moment, and there's a new series at the end of the year. And then he leapt onto the desk for a photo, 1 foot on his chair. And this is the photo I ended up with. As you can see, I plumped with a black pen. As an aside, about an hour later I walked past his desk and noticed that they'd replenished all his photos, so if I'd have held on a bit I could have got a better one. But it's an excuse to meet him next time he's here. Finally for today were 2 snooker legends. First was Cliff Orban. Again, he was exactly as I expected him to be. Not unpleasant but not particularly chatty, but happy to pose for a photo. Getting me behind a desk with him, which always gives me a thrill. Simple things. And here's a signed photo. And finally was Ray Reardon. Again, exactly how I expected him to be. Jolly, quiet Welshman. This time he stood beside the desk for a photo. And here's the side photo. There were a couple of people who were maybes on my list for today, but I decided against both of them. One of them was Michelle Forbes, who's an actress who's appeared in a few American sci-fi shows. I was interested in her because she's in the brilliant True Blood, but she had big signs up saying no photos, not no pose photos, no photos full stop, and no videos, and barriers all around her so that she couldn't be seen from outside her queue. And she's hardly the biggest star, and I'm pretty certain it's her agent's idea so that people have to pay for a photo shoot with her if they want a photo of her. But that was enough for me. I decided I wasn't going to spend £15 on her if I'm not going to get any sort of photo of her. And hopefully a few other people thought the same, and it might put them off doing it in the future. The other person I decided against was Mariana Barrie. I think that's how you pronounce her name. She's been in a few British films, most noticeably The Descent and Lesbian Vampire Killers, but the only thing I've seen her in is the episode of Doctor Who she did, which she was really good in. She seemed very nice, and she's certainly very pretty, but she was £15, and I think that's a bit too much for somebody who I've only seen in one thing. If she was £10, I would certainly have met her, but I decided against meeting her. There was one disappointment, but there is a possibility that the person might be here tomorrow, so I'll talk about that tomorrow. Tomorrow I've got three definites, a maybe and the possible, including a very attractive young lady who I'm really looking forward to drooling over. Meeting. No, I mean drooling over. And I see you on tomorrow's video.